Okay, gang, howdy, hello. Recording this video right at the start of the spring semester 2025. I like to record fresh hello intro videos each time I teach this class. So I just wanted to chat with you for about 15 minutes or so about this class, what to expect, and actually to give you some updates on this class. For you, they're not going to be updates. For most of you, maybe some of you have taken this class with me or with someone else before, in which case this one will be different. So the big news here for me, first of all, hello, my name's Donovan Conley, Associate Professor of Communication Studies. I focus on rhetoric, I focus on culture, rhetoric and culture, critical analyses of phenomenon that has to do with sort of the persuasive dimensions of culture. My particular interest is in like food, taste, and I've gotten really interested in the tech issue problems, digital brains, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm actually the most senior member of our comm program at this point. I have been around longer than everyone. I moved to Vegas in 2004, where I started in this program as an assistant professor, and I've been here ever since, and I really enjoy my program, my colleagues, my students, and so this is a class that I have been teaching now pretty much in some iteration for the whole time that I've been here. Rhetorical Tradition has kind of been my main class that I teach because, we offer it as a major, we offer it every semester. But I wanted you to know that this semester, finally after many years of online teaching, I was kind of doing online teaching before it was cool. I think I started around 2008, well before the pandemic ever started, because my ex was living in another part of the country. So in the summers, I would go and be with her while I was still wanting to make my summer money. We get paid really well to teach during the summer. So I wanted to teach summer classes, but I wanted to do it remotely. And so I started creating online classes. And I still have memories of recording videos in CBC up in one of the top floors. Anyway, I have been doing this for a while, and I've been teaching this 409 class and kind of rolling it out and hitting repeat for quite some time. The content has changed a fair bit, especially the latter half of this semester, but more so the look and feel, the experience, the online experience. Some students have given me feedback over the years, maybe you should try to get with the times a little bit in terms of the templates and the kind of, how things are all organized and arranged and displayed and the way content is brought in and so on. I used to just have one long page full of stuff to kind of work down through. So I have been working over the summer, throughout the fall, with the teams that they provide you in the online education office department, North Campus there. And they've been great, and they've been helping me really do the work of transforming this class. So it's a much different class. It is a kind of streamlined class. The feedback that I have gotten from students over the years as coming to me from my chair is students would like more opportunities to make points, assignment points. I used to just have 4 assignments, 2 tests, and 2 papers. Now we have more options. I've also received feedback about maybe kind of trimming things down a little bit, maybe not so many topics and readings, and I've tried to do that as well. The class is basically the same in terms of there's 4 units, and the first unit is pretty much identical to what it always has been because we're starting in the ancient context, and we're looking at classical kind of origins of rhetoric. And then the second unit, that's when we jump into the 20th century. That one's mostly the same. I've stripped a few things out of it, but it's the third and the fourth units that are the most new and unique. And some of those readings were on the syllabus before, but there's a number of new ones. I've recorded new lecture videos and put together notes and all kinds of things. And so as we proceed throughout this semester is when things will be fresh, at least from my perspective. For you, probably everything will be. But hopefully navigating your way through the class is going to be a little bit more familiar, a little easier, making a little bit more sense. I had to record these goofy overview, less than a minute long. Every time we start a unit or a module, you're going to see me introducing it. I hate the way I look. I hate the way I I hate the way they kind of set it up where they're kind of coming at me from below, and it's like, ugh. But anyway, they really wanted me to do these little intro things, and so hopefully that helps. So there's a lot of new helpful, hopefully, information and supplementary kind of stuff, and hopefully it's just easier to navigate and work through. So I would love constructive feedback at any point in terms of things that seem to be working or not working. The last thing I probably want to mention in terms of like big changes is I've started to do contract grading. I have some colleagues that swear by contract grading. The trick of adding more assignments to this class, because I've effectively doubled the number of assignments, and that means that's double the number of things I have to grade, and I have 2 other classes that I'm teaching at the same time, and so you always got to kind of strike this balance between wanting to give students, plenty of opportunities to kind of control their destiny, while at the same time not drowning yourself in grading. So contract grading is one way to kind of split the middle there, right? Because what it says to students is, okay, you probably have some idea of the grade that you want to make, or maybe the amount of learning or the amount of effort you want to devote to this class. And this allows you to kind of aim for where you're most comfortable and to do the associated amount of work without feeling kind of guilty or shamed about missing things or not doing things. And so I've tried this one other time. I felt like it didn't go so great, but it was a long time ago, and I want to try it again because I have more assignments, but I don't necessarily want to grade as much as I've built into this class. If the natural inclination would be to have students do a little more over here, maybe a little less over here. If that's an honest way for us all to kind of get what we want out of this experience, then I'm happy to kind of go along with it. So I will say that I'm trying some things in this session that I've never tried before. The quizzes are a little bit different. They're not tests like they used to be, so there's no writing anymore. They're just short answer questions, and there's only, I think, 10 questions for each one of those. And so the quizzes are now meant to be just kind of like, keeping people like up with the readings and the kind of the main concepts and so on, but they're not quite as substantial as they used to be. And I'm introducing 2 different kinds of assignments. The knowledge grids, which is where you're going to be creating kind of like a matrix of ideas, where you have the different major theorists that you kind of list up, and then you have these different kind of categories of explanation, right? Like ethics, or, how does this person think about power dynamics, or how does this person think about this and this and this? And so it's just a way to kind of organize, because this is a concept-rich class. It's a kind of theory-driven class. It's not a straight theory class. There's history to it as well, and it's not only history and it's not only theory. It's kind of the broad history of ideas about rhetoric, right? And so the knowledge grid sounded like an interesting activity to me. And the other thing is this idea of a concept map, which is a kind of graphic illustration of a complex idea that you invent. I like the idea of giving students the opportunity to be creative. And I also like the idea of giving you the opportunity to kind of choose your destiny, right? Like, I don't need an A. I don't need even a B. I just need a C in this class. And so I'm going to do these assignments. And so I have laid that out in the syllabus. Hopefully it makes sense. I'm going to keep looking at it. There are a few final tweaks that I'm still needing to kind of think through for this class. There are a few little notes I need to create, and I think a video that needs to come in toward the end of the semester. But I'd say we're like 95% of the way there in terms of like everything that needs to be here being here. So I hope it works. I hope this contract grading experience is good for all of us. And so let's see. The concept papers, I'm keeping those. There's two papers. If you want the A, you do both. I think that's the only, if you want the A, you're going to write both papers. I think for the B, there's just one paper that you write. These are papers that I've done for many years, and I feel like they've worked pretty well. I'm pretty happy usually with the way those things go. And the idea of the papers is to take some ideas, some concepts, some major theorists like Plato, like Kenneth Burke, and to use their ideas to kind of analyze some popular text, like a movie or a TV program or something like this, that's like chewing through some big ideas, and then to use these rhetorical concepts that try to explain and understand what's going on, and also to push our understanding of rhetoric itself and how it works. So that's kind of the like big picture of like the changes in this new class, and I'm excited. Like I said, I've been working on this for months and months and months, and this is a class that I've already been doing for a long time. It's right at the heart of everything that I study and teach and write about, and so I hope it goes well. I hope you have a good experience. I have not taught an undergraduate class in person on campus in, I gotta say, like years. They just don't make anymore. Make meaning like a certain number of students need to enroll in order for the class to go forward. But we offer these sections in classrooms and they just don't fill, right? Students don't sign up for them. Except this semester, I am teaching one class on campus. It's 211. It's not this one. It's a different one. But point is I'm going to be on campus 2 days a week teaching that. And I'm looking forward to actually like meeting some students in the classroom and having face-to-face conversations. It just seems kind of weird to me that this is the dominant way that I'm a professor of university education now, is like through these screens. It has its upsides, but for me, it also has downsides in terms of the quality of the education and also getting to know you guys. I don't see faces. They don't show us who you are. And so every semester, it's just a whole bunch of names. And I have up to 90 students. And so I have a hard time keeping all these names straight. A lot of times people will have similar looking names and I'll get them confused. And so I really enjoy getting to meet you, getting to talk to you. So please come to my office hours, which are Mondays and Wednesdays from 1 to 3 p.m. I teach my 211 in the morning up until just almost noon, and then I'm going to stick around and have my office hours. And I would love if you guys came by. Seriously, just come by and say hi. I've already had one or two of you reach out. Some students like to just come by and say hi and introduce themselves for this or that reason, and I enjoy it. I really enjoy talking to you because for me, it's something that's sliding away, and we hide behind these screens and these online experiences and assignments, and they're wonderful and easy and convenient and flexible and all the rest of it. But I'm an old school guy, I guess. I feel like conversation, face-to-face, sharing of ideas, asking of questions, trying out stuff. I think it's really important. So now the online folks will be like, well, you can build that into your class and discussions and all the rest of it. Yeah. I know. I've done all kinds of stuff, and it can work pretty well, but it's never as good as live face-to-face conversation. So please come by. It's not mandatory. I would love to meet some of you and have conversations, especially when you come in and ask me about rhetoric stuff, or like, ooh, I got excited about this idea and it got me thinking about this. And like, I had one guy, Luke, sort of coming by my office. He took this class like a couple of cycles back, and he got really excited about rhetoric, and he started like coming by my office, and we started having conversations. And now I'm writing him letters for grad school, and we're going to be doing an independent study together. So, it's always nice to make these connections, especially if you think you might be looking for a letter of recommendation at some point, or if you just want to have like personal kind of, conversation with someone who is able to chat about some of the things you're learning about. So that's about it. What else here? We are getting going this week with ancient classical rhetoric. And so the first thing that we want to do is we want to learn about these models. Actually, the first thing before that is to sort of get to know each other a little bit. A little discussion exercise, just to like do it, get 5 points kind of thing. It's just like, if we were in a classroom, I would probably have us just kind of shuffle up with someone and introduce yourself, and then, introduce each other to the group kind of thing. And so just like, take a few minutes and introduce us. I've given you a few little questions, prompts to think about, and it would be great if you could like respond to someone and say hi, or just give some feedback, and just to kind of like get the ball rolling in a positive way. And then after that, it's all about learning about these 4 models of rhetoric. They're going to be the main kind of structuring, organizing like device for this class. I learned these models from my mentor, Tom Conley. And I've carried them forward, and I've developed them and kind of worked them. Still, to me, a really good way of kind of organizing this massive amount of information about rhetoric that's going back to, 5th century BC and spans the entire Western world and probably the Eastern world, big parts of it as well. And so it's a lot. It's a lot. And so the models help us to kind of like have these major grooves that we can kind of operate in and understand things in reference to. And so get good on the models, and then just start working through Herrick. I do encourage you to watch these videos. Me creating these lecture videos is exactly what I would be doing in the classroom if we were meeting. I would be focusing on these ideas, right? I've taught all this stuff many times. So when I'm talking about Aristotle, this is the stuff that I definitely think is the most important, right? So do the reading, do Herrick, do the associated primary reading if it's Aristotle or Plato or whatever. We're not going to make you read the entire dialogues of Plato and the whole thing of Aristotle. But I do like the idea of you having a taste of Aristotle. Obviously not in the original Greek, but like in terms of translating his actual like original ideas, I think it's important for students who are at that final level of their undergraduate career to have some experience, some exposure to the original stuff, to the like primaries, as opposed to something that's been commented on, and it's like 15 steps removed, you know? So getting a little bit of a sample of Aristotle's ideas, of Plato's ideas, and also Plato's dialogues. They're really interesting how he wrote them and how he sort of crafted these philosophical ideas through these interesting kind of semi-fictionalized performances. So ancient rhetoric, classical rhetoric for 5 weeks. That's the first intro. We're going to have a quiz and that first little discussion. And anyway, all the assignments, you can read through that stuff online. As I mentioned, if you have any questions, please reach out. Please come talk to me. Please let's set up a Zoom call. And other than that, I don't know if I need to say too much else. So I've talked about the assignments, the general kind of schedule of things, the contract grading, the newness of the latter part of the semester. The thing that I would urge all of you, if you're interested in, giving yourself the best shot in this class, is a couple of things are like organizational skills and basically time management. So, there are a fair number of readings, videos. The videos are usually somewhere between like 15 and 25 minutes. Some are a little longer, some are a little shorter. If I was lecturing in class, it would be 45 minutes more or whatever. So these are the condensed versions of the lectures that I would have been giving in class. And so they're much shorter than, the live version would be, but they're maybe a little longer than, the TikTok stuff we're all familiar with. But I urge you to give them your time, to have your notes nearby, to have, maybe you can even like have a piece of paper or something. If you have any questions or things that you don't understand or that you're like struggling with, you can just kind of take note of them, and maybe you ask them in the discussion module in Canvas, and you can ask your fellow students, or you can ask me directly. Come by my office or set up a call or whatever. The main thing is that you don't fall behind. You don't hit a point of frustration and just be like, I'll come back to it or whatever, right? Keep the rhythm going in terms of the readings, in terms of the materials, the content. Also be thinking, okay, so this is my grade that I want to go for. This is the contract that I want to do. And so that means that, these are the assignments. I really urge you to kind of plan accordingly, to think, all right, put them on your calendar. If you don't have a calendar yet, if you don't use a calendar, use a calendar. I use my Google Calendar. I attach that with my iCalendar, my Apple Calendar, and I have all my meetings and I have all my deadlines. I even put my classes in, like this is when I'm teaching, this is when my office hours are, so I can sort of see everything. I like to sort of visually know what's coming up and whatever. Whatever system works best for you, please use it. I find over and over again that students kind of wait too long to get started, or they didn't realize that an assignment was coming up. So it's good to make sure that you know when all the deadlines are, when all the assignments are coming up, how much time you're going to need. Please reach out to me in advance of an assignment if you think you might be not super confident on your ideas, on your thoughts. Instead of saying to me after, hey, can I get bonus points? Come to me beforehand and say, hey, how can I make sure I get the best grade possible? I have some questions or I have some uncertainties, and we can talk them through. I can assure you that students' grades after they talk to me before they submit an assignment are always better than if they had probably just avoided it and said, oh, what the heck, I'll try, So I'm really kind of pushing this come talk to me thing because I miss it. I find that students tend to just kind of trust their own, creative abilities, or maybe they don't have time, or it feels like a professor is too distant, or, whatever. I'd like to overcome this. I'd like to get back to more comfortable conversations between students and instructors, and I would like to see that happen more in my office, on campus. I know there's concern about lack of bodies on campus by the upper administration because these are expensive buildings that they are paying for, and they're just kind of sitting empty. So I've been hearing from my chair and deans and so on that, like, we all want to kind of come back. But at the same time, we understand that life, jobs, families, stresses, the online stuff is more convenient, it's more flexible, and I get all of that, but I do feel like it comes at a cost. And so to the extent possible that we are able to chat, to get to know each other, to try out ideas, use the discussion in our Canvas page, the discussion little module where you can ask questions, and we can all chat back and forth. So I think that's probably it. It's a class in rhetoric. It's a class in this thing that is frankly not doing so well right now. And so I hope throughout this semester that we can develop an appreciation for, rhetoric, how it is, how it works, the kind of better versions, the kind of worse versions. We are in a time of worse versions. There are better versions. I don't know if there's a perfect solution, right? We're talking about how it is that people try to move and influence and achieve outcomes and marshal these people from there to here or from there to there, or to get this thing rolled out, or to convince, or to whatever, right? So we use these like soft skills of influence and persuasion all the time. So it's super important, I think, to know what's going on when you're in encountering better or worse versions, how we can try to maybe be better ourselves and encourage it in others. It's a super important thing. It's at the core of our democracy and our civic life and our health of our communities, and it is fading. It's fading away. So let's not let that happen, gang. Let's do our best and immerse ourselves and get ready to think and exchange and examine and analyze and hopefully be stimulated. All right, so I hope everyone's really well. It's a big day tomorrow. Monday is a big end of an era and a beginning of a new one. We'll see what happens. There's plenty to talk about from a rhetorical perspective. So I hope you're ready to sort of dive in and start chewing on stuff. All right, gang, be well. See you soon, and let's go for it. All right, peace.